Hey boos, hey, it is your girl, the Rising Phoenix Empath, coming at you from Maryland, and I wanted to jump on real quick. And I wanted to discuss today, chosen ones, 10 things that toxic person did before the breakup. Okay? And this toxic person that I'm referring to is the person that you were in relationship with, the person that betrayed you, the person that broke your heart, the person that hurt you, the person that did everything that they possibly could do to disrespect, dishonor, and be disloyal to you. I want to talk about the 10 things that they absolutely did to you before the breakup actually took place. And this could be triggering, so I have to tell you guys, trigger warning, okay? Because you may be triggered, but I am 100% sure that they did all of the things that I'm about to name. I'm going to be putting my glasses on and off because I can't see. Okay? I guess I look kind of cute with my glasses. I can't see. Okay. So, okay. Number one, they planned the discard and breakup in detail. Okay. What I mean by that, people, is when they knew and realized that their dysfunction would destroy the connection between you, when they knew that you were at your breaking point, when they knew that you would eventually break up with them, right? Because of the toxic environment they created. When they knew these things, right? They started planning, right? And at any time or juncture in this phase, they could have changed their minds. They could have stopped and not gone through with it. But I want you to understand that in detail, they planned everything about your breakup from inception to discard, right? From the story they would tell your friends and theirs, okay? From what friends and people of yours that they would attempt to take with them when they went, okay? Or that they would take with them. They knew already who they were going to recruit, to what dating sites they were going to go on to find new supply, to again what story they were going to tell people about you, what narrative, false narrative I might add, they were going to create about you to make it acceptable that they would break up with you and be with somebody else so soon. They planned every detail about this breakup from inception to discard. And I need you to understand that. And what that means is they made a decision. They made a decision and went full speed ahead. And they enacted that plan step by step until the final discard. Okay? That's number one. They planned the discard. Number two, they stole from you. They stole from you. Some of you still don't know that they stole from you. They stole from you in very small increments. When they knew that the relationship was over, the mindset was, okay, I might as well take as much as I can from her or him before I leave. And they begin to nickel and dime you, whether it be financially with money, taking money out of your account here and there, little small increments that you really wouldn't notice, but over time made a dent. They started stealing, even if it was $10. They got to a place where they really didn't care anymore and they knew that it was over. And so they were in such survival mode that they took the gloves off and they began to take as much as they could, as they had begun to harbor and covet as much as your resources as they possibly could before the actual breakup took place. So some of you guys need to look back through your bank statements. Some of you guys need to look back through some of the things that you think you have in your house that you don't have anymore. Yeah, they begin to steal from you things that you really wouldn't notice until one day you went looking for it, and you know that it's gone, or very small increments of money. And what this tells me is that I don't care, you know, if you break up with a person, there's still a level of love that normal people have for people, especially for people that have been true blue and who have stood 10 toes down. Just because a relationship didn't work doesn't mean that it has to end so treacherously, right? But these toxic people don't know how to do it any other way. And when I say toxic people, I'm not just talking about under the umbrella of narcissism, because it is my belief that there are so many mental ailments out here that we don't even know about that have narcissistic traits. And so there are a bunch of people out here operating in narcissistic traits, right? But they might not necessarily have narcissism. But I will tell you this, I'm going to tell you the 3 diagnoses that I do believe these people have inherently, okay? They're either narcissist, okay? They're even psychopaths or sociopaths. Okay, those are the 3 umbrellas. And even under those terms, there are other umbrellas, right? Or bipolar. Choose, you know, eat the flesh, throw away the bones, right? Wherever this resonates, it won't resonate for everybody in the same way, but take what resonates. But yeah, these toxic people definitely are under the realm of even narcissism, psychopaths, or sociopaths. They're not normal. And they stole from you. They planned to discard. 1. 2, they stole from you. 3, they begin to not only recruit people on the outside, but they begin to recruit and steal your friends from you. And some of them even went on to have relationship with people that you were friends with, or they reached out to people that were in your family that you're not even, speaking to right now. But because now you're a common enemy, they would reach out to these people to connect off the strength of just wanting to hurt you and drag you as much as they can. And guess what? A lot of these people bit. Some of them ignored them. Some of them told them where to go. And others, most of them, bit. Okay? I just got to let you know. Trigger warning. Because I know that's triggering, but that's just a fact. Okay? They took some people with them. And we talked about that in another video, good riddance, right? Okay, when they took these people with them, they did so by a couple of different means. 1, a lot of them, to garner your trust, they said, hey, I have nothing to hide, in the spirit of transparency. Here's my credentials to all my stuff. Give me yours, right? We gonna be transparent. I don't got nothing to hide. Da, 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 da. And so you had their stuff, but guess what? They had your stuff too. And while you went through it because you knew something wasn't right, right? You knew that there was something not right, and it became even obsessive of you going through their stuff, right? But they created the narrative of transparency, right? But they did this also, and maybe in the beginning, it was authentic for them, but toward the end, they used that as a means to get into contact with people that you were in contact with, in relationship with, and they use that as a means to reach out to these people outside of you and behind your back. Okay. Okay, number 4. They started to create false narratives about you to their family and their friends. I know you noticed toward the end of the relationship, because you know you had a good relationship with their families, right? The family loved you, right? They knew that you were good for them. They knew that you had their back. And what family member wouldn't love a significant other that supported their loved one in such a beautiful way that you supported this person? The family loved you. But then your toxic person began to spin a false narrative about you, right? And so now the transparency that they suggested in the relationship, they're putting it, they're changing the narrative to be that you just spy on them and they don't have any privacy, and that you know, you're you're controlling, right? So they're using something that they implemented in the relationship to make you look like you're crazy and controlling, when in reality it was their idea to do it, and they were actually snooping through your stuff way more than you were snooping through theirs. And furthermore, they used that information, that the access they had to your personal information, they used it to gang stalk you after the get discard with the people that you're not even in contact with anymore. Right? This happened. Now I'm take it as it resonates. I'm giving it to you as I'm seeing it and as I'm feeling it, and as I'm feeling it went down. It doesn't apply to everybody. It does apply to a lot. Take it as it resonates. Number 4, they created false narratives about you using the very things they put in place in the relationship to make you look crazy, to make you look controlling, and to make you just look like you're just this pathologically insecure individual. Okay? And with that, and with that, they also, the gaslighting and the manipulation, the reactive abuse that you may have given to them in turn of being gaslit and manipulated. Oh, if you sent them text messages or emails, they shared that with their family to make you look bad, never sharing what they did to inspire such texts or emails. But yes, they shared it with your family, and because toward the end, the family started acting real funny towards you, and you're like, and you picked up on the energy almost immediately, and you just stepped back. You ain't get mad. You ain't argue with nobody, but you sense the energy shift, and you simply stepped back. That is what that toxic individual wanted, and he wanted to spin that narrative because you were so highly regarded within his family for being 10 toes down for this person, that they had to validate why you broke up and why they were in a relationship with somebody new so quickly. So they had to make you look as awful as they could. And 9 times out of 10, the false narratives that they projected was everything they did to you. Okay? Number 5, they started recruiting for the bench. So not only did they plan the discard in detail, not only did they steal from you, not only did they take the access they had to your social media accounts and to your phone and to your Google accounts and started recruiting from your friendship pool, but they actually started and created these false narratives about you. They also started recruiting on their own. Okay? They already knew what social media accounts worked for them, whether it be Tinder, whether it be Match, no, whether it be Baidu, whether it be whatever, Hinge, whether it be whatever, they already knew what online environments they were going to go to start fishing for new supply, and they started recruiting from the bench, not just one person, but understand they had probably anywhere between 3 and 5 people that they were talking to, and they were going to keep them all on the bench. They were going to choose one to be their new person and your replacement, right? Number 6, they started, after they chose the replacement, they started to groom them, right? So grooming them, right? And we've all experienced this whether we know it or not. Okay, grooming is telling this person about the mistreatment of them from you, making you out to be the worst. And I know this because I heard about 20 stories from about all the exes and about how they all traumatized him and did these horrible things to him. And me being the green person that I am, listen, I didn't know that there were people like this that existed that treated other human beings like this. I didn't know, right? And I'm not I mean, I guess I am pretty green, but I have a little bit of street smarts. I grew up in a hood, but I also grew up with integrity and love, right? In my household, mom and dad was there, and I saw love and I experienced love from both of my parents, and therefore, not only can I receive love, but I know how to give it, right? So only a certain individual raised in certain circumstances who lacks the understanding and ability not only to receive love but give it, but they resent the love. And the more you love them, the better you love them, the more they hate you. It's so crazy. Okay? But these people started recruiting from their new bench, and they started to groom the replacement, which is number 6. I'll stay focused. I'm sorry. Let's blame it on the ADD. They started to groom the new supply, telling them all the horrible things that you did to them, garnering sympathy and empathy from this new supply, and kind of almost setting the stage for everything they have to do to make up to them how you mistreated them. Oh, I'm gonna treat you, and that you don't say this and you don't really consciously think this, but when you're hearing these things and you have the empathy and the heart to feel, bad for somebody who is saying they have experienced such trauma at the hands of wicked people, wicked women or wicked men, you're just so determined to love this person like none other, and that is the hope. And so what they're really doing is not only triangulating you, but grooming you and telling you how you should treat them like the king or queen they don't deserve. Okay? They're clowns. Both male and female. Okay? They're clowns. Number 7, they started a new relationship before y'all broke up. They were already in the relationship, but the relationship was so new that they still had the time to entertain two at the same time, right? And this is not including all the other people they got on the bench waiting for their spot, waiting for their batter up. Okay? Trigger warning. Yeah. They started the new relationship. And so maybe it's the very beginning phases, love bombings taking place. You are starting to see a difference in this person. The communication, the availability, and the emotional attachment. You're seeing these things are drastic changes before the actual breakup, and it's because they have already started a new relationship. Okay? That's number 7. Number 8. They planted things for you to find. because they're such cowards. They didn't want to be the bad guy and break up with you. So they planted things. They allowed you to find things that would warrant you to break up with them so they wouldn't have to do the dirty work. And what this is called is a reverse discard. Okay? That way, not only can they create false narratives about you to their family, right? But they can also tell the family, well, she broke up with me. And they can act like the heartbroken girl or boy or man, you know, because you not only treated them bad and cheated on them and did all of these things that never really happened, but in actuality, these are all the things they did to you. They're creating this false narrative and then adding the fact that, well, she broke up with me or he broke up with me. And it's because they planned it that way. Right? They're too cowardly to be honest and have a breakup that would be adult and mature and respectful, but they'd rather it just be as traumatic as it could be because they call you the drama king or queen, but they are addicted not only to people, but they're addicted to the drama and the adrenaline that the drama brings. Yeah, that's what they did. Number 9, they emotionally detached from you. Okay? So once they started that new relationship while still with you, that gave them the means to be able to emotionally detach from you. Right? So during the emotional detachment, right? And I do believe that this is hurtful for them too. And this is what brings such rage about, right? Because they're so angry because really they wanted it to work, but they're so dysfunctional and set in their ways that they just had no clue of how to make it work. They don't have the emotional intelligence, right? To, do what to take and to do what needs to be done, not only to create but to maintain a functional relationship and healthy relationship. Okay? So the rage and anger comes from they really deep down in their soul didn't want to lose you. And they hate that they lost you because who wouldn't? They know, I want you guys to understand this, men and women alike. They know that in you, they had a jewel in you. They know how beautiful you are, not only on the outside, but on the inside. They know how pure of heart you were. And they know that they've never really experienced this with anybody else. And so the anger and the rage they feel from losing that is projected as hate onto you because they make themselves believe all of the lies they've told about you. And then they further go on to make themselves believe that this new person who's really, it's sad, who's really just a body or a person that they can play this make-believe pretend game with, because I believe in my heart that they did love you. Okay, they did. But I want you to understand that the version of love that they give, how they process information, how they process emotion, right? The trauma that they experienced was so great that they learned at a very young age to disconnect from reality. This is deep. And this trigger warning for this, because I'm not trying to create sympathy for them. I'm just trying to explain to you how somebody who could be so madly in love with somebody one day and the next week you are in love with somebody else. And it's just not possible. And in our world, in reality, it's not. But in the minds of these people, they've been traumatized to such a high degree that very early on in life, they learn to detach from reality and emotion. So when they love you, and it's very childlike and very high school, and it's very immature because, they're stunted. They're stunted right there where the trauma took place. They're stunted. And so you're trying to understand, well, how does somebody love? This is their version of love. The traumatic experience and the abuse that they experience at the hands of somebody else at such a very young age, whether it be emotional, physical, or sexual. Or maybe it was just, somebody not receiving the nurturing and care that a child should receive from its care, from his or her caregivers. And so they learn very early how to detach from reality and from emotion because the pain is so great, and they would do anything at all to not experience that pain again. And any emotional thing or any great heart activation that these people will experience will remind them of that trauma that they felt, right? At the any heart activation that stirs up the emotions and the love will trigger these people to go into defense mechanism that will shut out reality, shut off emotion, and detach in an effort to survive. This is what's happening. So you're saying they never loved you the way we do now because they simply, at this juncture in their lives, they can't love like we love. They love like they love, right? But their version is terribly dysfunction and terribly dysfunctional and terribly skewed. And when they love you and it's so intense and they mean it in the moment. But when the trauma takes place, when the memory activates and they feel that danger they felt as a child, the danger of abandonment, the danger of rejection, the danger of being left and hurt, right? Again, that triggers them to disconnect from reality and from you. And they even go a step further and create another false narrative, and all the love, everything that they had for you, they will transfer it to this new person. And this new person will now be the apple of their eye. And guess what, people? This is another trigger warning. They mean that too. So when that happens, when that activation happens and that trauma response happens and they emotionally detach from you, they're immediately attached to somebody else that's safer for them to love. Somebody that's safer. Somebody that won't require as much as you do. Somebody that'll go along with the program. Somebody that'll just do what they say. Somebody that'll just not have the standards, right? Somebody who will let them run amok and run them through the ground. This is safety for them. This person won't leave. I can control this situation. I can't control you. You're too strong. You're too smart. You require too much. You're too high caliber. And really, I knew from the very beginning that I just really wasn't qualified to be with you. And so let me detach from you and attach to something safer. Let me attach to somebody like me because I know what that outcome's going to be. And I won't have any expectations of anything more. Let me attach to this person because I know I'm going to have my way. I'm not going to be challenged. And life is just going to be easier. And, they're on my level. So they really won't require that much. Right? So number 9 was they emotionally detached from you. And as soon as they detached from you, number 10, they took all of that energy, all of that love that they had and felt for you, and they projected that onto their new supply. So number 10 is they emotionally attached to somebody else. Okay? So let's go through these 10 again. Okay? Number 1, they plan the discard in detail from inception to discard. Every little detail about the discard, from, you know, what sites they were going to go on to what story they were going to tell their families, to when they were going to start stealing from you, to what they steal from you, and how they would, and what they would plant to make you break up with them if they did a reverse discard. Okay, that's number 1. They planned everything in detail. Number 2, they stole from you, whether it was small increments of money here and there that added up to a big enough amount, or they stole things that you really didn't miss until later on. And they did this because they really wanted to hurt you and dig at you, and it really made them feel good to know that they got this over on you. Number 3, they took some of your friends with you. They knew that they knew, from your conversations and from the things that you shared with them, they knew certain friends really didn't bang with you like that. They knew, and they contacted these friends. I talked about that in another video. They contacted them, and now they recruited them, and now they're on their team, and you don't even hear from these people no more. Okay? Number 4, they started to create false narratives about you to their family and friends. Number 5, they started recruiting for a bench. So even now they're with their new supply, right? They got about 4 to 5 people on the bench waiting, that they talk to here and there just to keep the bench warm, just in case this person gets out of hand and starts requiring too much. Okay? Number 6, they started to groom the replacement. They groomed the replacement by telling them all the lies and all of the negative things that you did to them. But really, in reality, they did these things to you. But they groomed this person by telling them and triangulating them with you. Okay? Number 7, they started that new relationship before you actually broke up. They had that person in place to take your place. Number 8, they planted things for you to find. They're cowards. They weren't going to break up with you. They don't know how to do that. So they'll just create the drama, and they'll inspire you to discard them or break up with them. So that way you're the bad guy and they're not. Okay? Number 9, they emotionally detached from you. And number 10, as soon as they emotionally detached from you, they emotionally attached to somebody new. These are the 10 things that toxic person did to you before the actual breakup took place. And every time you think about going back, every time you ruminate about this relationship that really was fake and false, it really didn't exist. Every time you ruminate, I want you to go back to number 1. And I want you to go back to number 1 is they planned the discard in detail, and at any time they could have turned around and changed their minds or stopped this craziness, but they didn't. They went full speed ahead with their plan, and they didn't care how it would hurt you. All they cared about was their survival, their need to not be discarded, their need not to be abandoned, and their need to lord over you with the mentality that I won. Because they view relationships as a game to be won, and not the blessings that God intended them to be. So I hope that this helped you. I hope that this didn't trigger you too bad. But every time you think about going back, every time you ruminate over a relationship that was false, over a relationship and over a person that can stop loving you at will and love another at will, and in their minds and in their hearts, in the moment they do, they think they love that person just like they thought they loved you. And in their world, it is love. In their world. But in our world, in the functional world, in the realistic world, we know that that's anything but love. So that's the 10 things that toxic person did before the breakup, and I hope it doesn't trigger you, but I hope that it enlightens you and it inspires you and it encourages you to continue to grow, to continue to heal, and to continue to not respond. No contact. Move on. Because them doing these 10 things on that list devastated you and broke your heart. But it was the best blessing and the best gift they could have given you. Because to love somebody who really doesn't exist and who doesn't have the capacity to love you back truly in itself would be torture. So count it all good and know that your love will be reciprocated one day, just not by this person. Okay, I hope this helped you. I love you guys. Comment in the section. You know I'm good with responding. I hope your guys are having a good weekend. I love you guys. Be encouraged and know that God has so much more for you, and that you're going to be blessed, and that you're going to get through this. All right? I love you. Until next time.